I don't know about you, but I have a high disregard for airlines. Unfortunately, I am trapped myself because I am now, I have been a member of the American Airlines frequent prisoner program since its inception, and I'm trying to remember. I think it's been like 30 years now. I don't know. Has it been that long that they've had the frequent prisoner programs? Maybe not that long, but regardless, I have been in that program for a long, long time. The reason why I'm trapped, the reason why I'm a prisoner, is because, see, there comes a point in those airlines where you reach, like I have, 6 million miles. I fly a lot, and so as a result, I supposedly get these benefits for being a high-ranking member of these prisoner programs, and so they've got me trapped. Because I fly so much, I want to be up front. Now, I'm not saying up front with you. I want to be up front in the airplane. I want to be in first class. It makes a huge difference for people who fly a lot like me. And and I had an incident last week. This is where this goes. And the interesting thing about the incident last week with American Airlines was that I also had an experience with Apple online Apple support that completely flipped to the other side, to where they took such great care of me, and I wanted to share both with you. So first, American Airlines. When I'm flying American Airlines, essentially I should get upgraded all the time pretty easily. When I purchase a ticket, and I try not to buy, as much as I fly first class, if you go to my website and you look at my rules for doing business, in there I explain that I do fly first class, but I don't like to buy first class tickets. What I want to do is I want to buy coach tickets and then get upgraded. And that's what I want to do, to try to save my clients a little bit of money, but still right up front. Now, last week I had purchased a ticket quite a while ago to go to Washington, D.C. and do some consulting work for a client out there. And I had confirmation that I had requested upgrades on the segments flying, right? So, and on the first two segments, I flew, and this is crazy, I flew on a 5 o'clock a.m. flight on Wednesday morning, I believe it was, to Phoenix. And then I was supposed to connect from Phoenix to Washington, D.C. So, that's a long flight. And I had noticed that I had not gotten upgraded on that second leg, on the leg from Phoenix to Washington, D.C. And I was very curious, and I was curious as to, am I on the list? Am I still got a chance to get up there? I mean, that's a long flight. It's almost 5 hours. And so I went online, and there is a place for frequent flyers to check and see where, to look at the upgrades, who's requested upgrades and where you are on the list. And I went in there and looked at the list, and my name was not even on the list, and yet I had requested. So when I landed in Phoenix and I walked over to the gate, I actually had kind of a short connection. I got over to the gate and I went up to the front counter and I said, do you know where I am on the upgrade list? And the woman basically says, you're not on the list. And I said, oh, well, what, and I showed her my confirmation that said that I had requested to be upgraded, right? Now, what's supposed to happen is that she would then say, okay, I'll put you on the list. And then based on your seniority is where you go on the list, which is why it typically puts me right up there at the top. And she just said, it's too late to put your name on the list. And I said, it's too late, so the upfront is full. And she said, yes, it's full, it's too late. Now, the thing is that her attitude towards me was complete indifference, right? She said, you're supposed to put you're supposed to sign up for this ahead of time. I said, I just showed you my confirmation that I did sign up for this ahead of time. And she said, well, but you're not on the list. So her indifference really irritated me because I thought, I got 6 million miles here on American Airlines. And, why doesn't she at least show that, oh, gee, I'm sorry, Mr. Miller, it's too late or something like that. But then what happens, right? We get on the flight and we board the flight, and I'm back in coach, and that's, that stuff happens occasionally, and I don't lose sleep over it. But then eventually they come back and they grab a couple of people and they go, you need to, or you can come with us because we've got open seats for you, right? And ultimately she did come back to me, right, and bring me up. But the fact of the matter is that she said that up front was full, and then later on, as we get into the final boarding, she comes back and starts pulling people out of coach ahead of me and say that it's up front. So number one, she shows total indifference. She just, she met me with a shrug when I asked about, getting upgraded, and then she tells me it's full, and, which it was a lie, she lied to me. So you see, and this indifference is what drives us crazy with these airlines, because they promise big. They promise that they're going to take care of us, and they have these frequent prisoner programs, and they say, oh, we're going to treat you not, and they don't. So they don't walk their talk. Now on the flip side, I was having an issue, and I'm still kind of having an issue with my computer. Now, I'm an Apple guy. I'm a Mac guy. I've been a Mac guy from the very beginning, which is fine. It doesn't matter which you have. But for me, it's a Mac, and I was having an issue with it with my Mac, and so I went online and I went onto the chat for the support and started talking with this guy, and he was very nice. And right out of the box, one of the things that he said, his name is Matthew, and let me show you the screenshot of his comment to me right at the beginning. He says, let me read this. He says, from my experience, it's easier to follow up with the same person. I work Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, blah, blah, blah. My direct email is this. Obviously, I've blocked out his thing. So you have a personal contact here at Apple if you need to follow up, or we are disconnected. Now, look at how that, he words that by saying, look, I want to be here for you through this situation. If we get it fixed today, that's cool. But if we have to extend this conversation, I am going to be the guy who's going to work with you. You ever know? You notice how sometimes when you call support somewhere, and you call them and you talk to them for a while, they're supposed to be taking notes, everything like that. But then you hang up, or you're disconnected, or you need to follow up with them, a day or two later, and you say, oh, I'm following up on this. Can you look up my thing? Well, and they're looking at notes, right? But it's a different person, so they don't really know the situation because they're just looking at notes. But no, Matthew says to me, I am going to take care of you, and I want to be your contact through this whole thing. Now, let's think about that. And then even later on, when we finally determined that, we were going to have to do some more work after, hang up or, get off the chat, and he was going to have to do some more background work on this. He finishes up by saying, where he goes, okay, do you have any other questions right now for me before we disconnect? I said, nope, I'm good. Let's go. And he says, great. I am your contact moving forward. So if you are gone, we can plan a better time to talk. I'm sorry you've had to deal with this for so long. I can understand being frustrated with something like that. I want to make sure we resolve this ASAP. So what has he done? He has basically, the difference between him and the difference between American Airlines was that I feel confident that my problem is going to be solved. I also feel confident that I have been heard, and he has empathized with my situation. He understands this is a hassle for me. He says, I'm going to help you. I'm going to be here with you. I'm going to walk with you through this whole thing. Now compare that to the American Airlines thing. And it's no wonder that I am a loyal customer of Apple versus I'm a very reluctant customer of American Airlines. And in my book, Uncopyable. Yes, if you don't have this, you need to go get this if you've not read this yet. But in my book, Uncopyable, how to create an unfair advantage over your competition, I talk about 3 different strategies for you can use to become uncopyable, separating yourself from the competition in ways that makes it really, really hard for them to kick you out of a contact. And one of them is what I call the uncopyable experience. Now, we could say, it could be argued that what I'm basically talking about here is customer service. I don't think so. Customer service I think customer service is actually a bad term for it, because customer service is doing things kind of after the fact, answering the phone, I'm talking about how the customer feels about your company when they have communications with you. Do they feel attached? Do they feel confident? Do they feel like they are being taken care of? Do they feel like they are being listened to? Do they feel like the person on the other end of the line, no matter who it is, no matter what level they are, no matter what the medium used, do they feel that that person has their best interests at heart? I talked about this last week, kind of about do people care? And I talked about the different experiences that I had, when we were on our 3,206.3 mile road trip, and that this is beyond just something like customer service. The customer experience is something that is more is much more visceral. Okay, it's much more how somebody feels inside, that how you are taking care of them. See, I have, I have a great, and I don't want to say dislike, but I have an attitude of, I think the airlines, I think all the airlines, for the most part, all the airlines, maybe not Southwest Airlines or something, or somebody like that, but for the most part, they just don't care. They just don't care anymore. And no matter how hard, a handful of people, whether it's a flight attendant or not, and believe me, I know they have a very, very difficult job. I try to be as nice to them as possible. I've personally seen some incidents on the flights, even had an incident on my flight back home last week to Seattle with a passenger, and I think they do as good a job as possible. And that's all very nice. But on an overall perspective, I just think I think they don't care. While with Apple, I've always had a good experience with Apple. Occasionally something will fall down, but they've always come through and taken care of me. So this is the thing, is that, what kind of an experience do you really deliver to your customers, top to bottom, side to side, every single contact? A great, do they feel like they are connected to you emotionally, personally? Do they feel, and this can happen even in the B2B world, do they feel that you really care and that you really give a crap? And do they feel like you're taking good care of them? So anyway, so that's what it's all about. I think that if you're looking for some ideas, if you're looking for some other ways to create that uncopyable attachment via an uncopyable customer experience, you can get those ideas in my book, Uncopyable. Right? So go get it right now, read it, and stay on top of things. So thanks for watching. Hey, this is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad and marketing gunslinger. Appreciate you joining me this week. And I will be back again. I will be back. I am a professional speaker. I'll be back again next week with another program on Uncopyable. Always remember, be uncopyable. See you then.